AM 1430 KRGI, 105.5 FM. Good morning. I'm Brian Gallagher. We have a guest in studio from Hamilton Business Communications. Is that the right title? Because you do so many different things.
Hamilton Business Technologies. This is how we go by for this portion of the company. So
Adam Juergens is here. We know him as Shed, and he's a guy that's been with them now for a few years, and he's here to talk about something that is really important. In fact, it is so important. This is a chance for you to get ahead of the gremlins that are out there online. There's a different title. It's called The Importance of Investing in Proactive Security Solutions. But again, there are gremlins waiting, so let's talk more about that. Why is it increasingly important for businesses to invest in cybersecurity, and what are the main risks of not doing that?
You put your information at risk. Obviously, we talk about that all the time. Is your information is the most critical thing that your business possesses. Not just your information, but your customers' information. And the threat to that is getting so much more sophisticated every day. You know, we're used to, if you think about 10 years ago, you get those emails that were very obviously fake, very obviously not from someone you know, and now the ones that get sent out today are very real and very, very good looking. So the risk continues to amplify, and it's harder for the average person to identify and then do something about that.
When people get into business, though, a lot of times they try to lay out their path of investments.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, cybersecurity becomes one they need to think of. How can they make this line up with their business objectives and maybe some of their strategies, especially regarding risk management?
Yeah, absolutely. Risk is the word. You need to start thinking about your technology as a part of your risk management, your risk portfolio. The same reason that why do you put sprinklers in your building? To lower the risk of having your building burn down. Why do you buy fire insurance? Why do you buy flood insurance? Why do you do all these things? Because we can talk about data security and all of that is well and good, but the real reality to a business owner, if you have a ransomware attack or you have a phishing email that stops you from doing business, is you can't work. And if your business can't work for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks or longer, what does that do to your business? And that's the real reality of a cyber event, is that you will not be able to work the way that you're used to for quite some time if you have an event like this.
I think you've gotten their attention now. So let's go to the next step. What steps should organizations take to ensure their cybersecurity budgets remain effective and adaptable over time?
Yeah, you really just should get an assessment. Just like anything else, you go to the doctor, you get some tests done to see where you're at. You get tests done to your building. You have all these things done, because most people aren't doing nothing. People are doing some things here, some things there. Have someone who's an expert come do an assessment, take a look at what you're doing, and make suggestions on where you should go or how you should go from here.
I would imagine that communicating with a lot of businesses, especially if they're younger, are saying, okay, yeah, I think I'm aware of this, but maybe it's a business that's been around a long time. We've done things this way for a lot of years,
Sure.
And I just don't know that we need to do that. How do you try to help them cover that crossover?
Yeah, you really kind of compare it to their business and how have they changed over the years. And when you really think about it, everyone's business, even if they've done the same thing, the way they do it or how they do it has evolved quite a bit over time. Excuse me. And that's the same thing that has happened in the security, the technology world, that it's always evolving, and it's evolving to a point where the average consumer just can't keep up with those changes. And so just like anything else, you hire a plumber, you hire someone to come do things at your house, because you could go watch a YouTube video and maybe figure it out, but at some point it's time to bring in the experts.
All right, well, you heard the straight skinny. So now, if folks want to get in touch with you, what's next?
Yeah, I encourage you to go to our webpage, hamiltonisbusiness.com. There's a great description of all the things that we do. You can get some information there. And then if you want to schedule some time with us, you can fill out a form on there, or you can call us 308-381-1000.
Adam Juergens, if you need to call him Shed, he'll go, yeah, can I help you?
Yeah.
So you're always welcome here, buddy. Thanks. Good morning from AM 1430 KRGI, 105.5 FM.